Welcome. Wait a minute, I can't hear myself. Hold on.
I can hear you loud and clear, though.
Welcome to another episode, another installment of Confidence Factor Talks for Men. My name is Lamont Gwynn, and I am in the building. I don't think we can ever start the show without saying that.
Yeah, you're right. You're
Yeah,
right.
man.
It becomes like this whole trademark now. Thanks to our brother Rudy the Rose for creating that in the building. It kind of like sets the right state, man. That's what it's about, setting the right state.
Exactly. So we are here today. We're gonna have a conversation. It's just you and me today, brother.
Yeah, and listen, that's all good.
It's just you. We're gonna chop it up today.
Listen, I'm all good for that. Conversation is currency. So if it's just two of us, we're gonna run some currency between us today. This is a good conversation, man. So, hey, listen, what we talking about today, Lamont?
Unleash your riches. What would you do with $1 million?
Damn, boy, don't tease me like that, boy.
Right.
Don't be playing with me like that.
So recently in the lottery, we'll talk about it. Someone in California won $1.08 billion.
Damn.
And then 32 people woke up with $1 million.
Wow.
And 3 people woke up to $2 million. And what did you do? What with that money, man? So welcome to Confidence Factor. Again, my name is Lamont. I'm here with my brother Darian Hill. Let me fix something here. Our name's not even showing up. Let me see.
Yeah, imagine that. The professor is in the building.
The professor is in the building. Let's see. Oh, I know why it's not showing up. It's not showing up because I got the thing up. All right. There we go.
Yo,
so we are Confidence Factor, and we are a community for men by men. And you want to talk about our smart principles?
Yeah, man, absolutely. Because Lamont said, we're Confidence Factor, and what we do, we have heart level conversations that lead to transformation. The truth is, as society likes to say, men don't talk, right? But also men need a space to be able to talk, to be able to share what's going on with them. And what we did was we created a safe space for men to come together, have conversations. But these conversations are outer conversations where we have with you, the general public, so you guys can kind of see what we are about. And what we are about is empowering the lives of over 5 million men to be able to pursue their purpose by living a life of Confidence Factor, by living and installing this thing we call Confidence Factor, right? And what does that look like? What does that look like in terms of Confidence Factor? We have 3 main principles that we run with, and it's our SMART principle. And SMART actually stands for something. It stands, number 1, for self-mastery. Because if you really think about it, your identity, your self-image is what drives everything in life, right? If you have an identity that says, I only make $30,000 a year, then no matter if you get that $1 million, guess what? You can go back to that. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later. That's important for this discussion, right? So knowing who you are, having that self-image that's strong, that self-esteem that's strong is important as a foundation. And of course, you have to have accountability. Because as we set goals in life, there's always going to be stuff that comes up. On this journey called life, this video game I call life, you're going to deal with some stuff. And so, when you set these goals, you want to have people around you that's going to help to support you and keep you on the path towards your goal. And last but not least, to build a house, right, call your life, you got to have some resources and tools. You got to have some information. You got to have some knowledge that when applied then turns into power. You got to have a mastermind group. You have to have, just sometimes experts come in and share some of their wise counsel with you so you can make better decisions. Maybe your plan is not working right now. So you can then maybe make new plans and keep on the journey towards success. And so that's what our SMART principles are all about. And we love to come out in the general public to have these outer conversations, but inside we have what we call heart level conversations and courageous conversations. And that's where we men really have the big transformations in life, where we're able to have these spaces where we can talk about what we're dealing with, when oftentimes, we can't share with certain people, or maybe people even close to us that may not be able to understand what we're going through. So we're excited and honored that we have the ability to have this platform and share with you guys. So if you support what we're doing, if you like what we're doing, if you're under the sound of our voice, you're watching this, whether it be on live or on a replay, and you like what I'm saying, you support the fact that men do need to have a space, that men should be able to speak to wise counsel, to have a brotherhood, if you will, where they can share and transform some of their frustrations, their concerns, their ideas that may not be listened to, a place where they can be celebrated, not just only tolerated, then I want you to share our community with your friends and your family, other men in your life that you know who would love to be able to connect with brothers like ourselves to be supported. And that's what it's all about. So, man, I'm excited about today's conversation, Lamont, because really and truly, I think, like you mentioned, as you set the context for today, we just had the lottery, and we'll continue to have more lotteries, right? Have continued to have more lotteries, and people are going to continue to play the lottery. But most recently, as you said, somebody in California won like, well, how much billion?
1.08 billion.
Damn, 1.8. Hey, can you imagine waking up, Lamont? Like, I'm just fathoming that. Hey, so you had a normal day. Like today, we got on today, everything wasn't perfect because I had a very long day today. Keep it 100. I had a very long day today. A lot of running around. And you were tested. You were tested in terms of just like showing up. But we gotta do what we gotta do.
Right.
But imagine like you having a day and then all of a sudden tomorrow you wake up to 1.3 or 1.6 billion. Right? Like, yo, hey, I don't even know, but that's that's a whole new category of emotions and feelings that you go into.
Listen, there was this article of
Yeah.
this young man who won, and I think he was here in Florida,
Mm,
or so maybe he wasn't in Florida, but it was like I don't know if it was an article. I think it was an article that I read, and so basically it was a lawyer talking about the experience,
yeah.
and he told the parents of the young man, he said, you have to move immediately. And they were like, oh, no, no, no. And basically he told them, okay, if you don't want to move, then you need to get kidnappers insurance on your son.
Wow.
They literally took a helicopter from where they were with the lawyer to the lottery place with the ticket. So I will say that I did play
Yeah.
and I did get the 7. I didn't get the 10, but I mean, it was 7. I see. The funny thing is, I remember these numbers because it was so close. It was 7, 10, um, 11, 13, and 24.
Yeah.
I had 7, 9, 11, 38, and 42.
Wow. Wow. That's close, boy.
I'm getting close. That's
Wow.
all I say. I'm getting close.
Getting close.
I'm getting close.
You getting close. You getting close.
So
But yeah. So I want to let the listeners know who's here with us, right? Whether we on live or replay. Like, what would you do, right? The question is, what would you do, right, with $1 million? Like, I think it's a really serious conversation, and it's a conversation because good conversation to have, not just because of the lotto, but because as you know, part of our inner circle, we talk about unleashing your riches.
right,
We talk about unleashing riches, and riches does stand for something. We always have acronym C in confidence factor, and it stands for relationship, your income, your contribution, community, education. No, sorry, health. Yeah, education and spirituality. I got, I got mixed up there for a minute, right? But it's all good. It's all good. Um, but when we talk about the I, that's the income part. So we definitely like to engage in these conversations about what would happen if your life changed, if your income level changed, right? So and we just wanted to kind of tie that into the lotto. Yeah, what would happen if what would you do if you automatically won $1 million? What would be your first action step? What would you do? And I think a lot of people have not really considered that question. And so when they do have a windfall, they may default into just some automatic behaviors that may not serve them, right? So I do want all of us to really consider that. And maybe let's, kind of start there. Like maybe answer that question like, hey, what would you do? Right? What would you do if tomorrow you just got bam $1 million.
So if $1 million came into me tomorrow, first thing I would do is contact the lawyer
Mm-hmm.
and um, probably create a trust,
Create a trust.
right?
Wow.
And and get some advice because
Yeah.
I think that amount of money, um, I know that I've had it over my lifetime so far. I
Yeah.
know I've gone through $1 million, but at one time, I probably my first inclination would be to get some advice,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? At the top of my list would be paying off outstanding balances, like paying off my car and paying off some other things that I can just get, take care of that stuff.
Yeah.
Um, but that would probably be my
That's
initial.
your first. Okay,
Yeah.
that's interesting. I love that. I love that. So you're seeking wise counsel. You're getting that attorney, and then you're saying, "Hey, listen, I'm seeking wise counsel." And you know what's really cool about your response, right? Is because, well, twofold. I do want to let the listeners know that we are big proponents of the cash flow game, right? That's one of the things
Mhm.
we play, in a circle, and you know we have a little bit of a cheat code because we've been playing that game, and so we've been indoctrinated differently, right? Right? We've been indoctrinated a little differently. But I would say it's interesting you saying, which is wise advice, Lamont. But I would say a lot of people, including even myself, before indoctrinated differently, maybe they go out and buy something nice, right? The first thing I go and do is like, hey, I'm gonna go and get that nice car or whatever that I want. I'm gonna go and get, I don't know, maybe buy a big house or something, right? you know, like spend that money. And so we want to explore like possibilities, right? We want to explore possibilities of what you could do with the money.
Right.
Okay. And so I would say many people would definitely start to look for ways to how they can circulate it or spend it
Right.
way. And I think it was a stat that showed um, that about, but it's different stats. Some said 70%, some said 97% of all people who win the lottos literally lose the money in 5 years. And I don't know about you, but I was very baffled by how high that was. I'm like, how is it that you're gonna lose hundreds of millions of dollars? And before I answer my what I would do with it, I do want us to explore that. Like, why do you think like so many people lose the money? Like, what's going on there?
So before I answer that question, I want to at the last minute, one of the brothers said, "Hey, I'm going to jump on." So we
Yeah.
do have our brother from uh Belize,
Oh,
from California, from Texas,
see all over the place.
from all over the U.S.
See all
We
over
have
the world
our
change.
brother Wayne Moody on with us. Welcome to the show, Wayne.
Wayne.
I said, I gotta jump in here.
Man, hey, this is a powerful conversation, man. It's good to see you, my brother.
So you want my 2 cents?
Well, first of all, we got to know what we want to know. What happened to all the riches with all the here? We want to know what's going on. That's what we want to know. What's up with the
Well,
riches out the here?
It's been a month now that I have my first apartment in Houston.
Yeah.
So when I moved in, I shaved off all my hair. I said this was going to be my USA moment. I was going to like, can you
Wow.
hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
We hear you.
So I shaved my head. I shaved everything, and this is the new. It's coming in new.
Okay. I'm feeling it. I must say, I'll be honest with you, I'm a little biased. I do like, the old Wayne guru look, for me, I mean, I'm not saying I gotta get used to this, Wayne. I'll be heart level. I gotta get used to this look, Wayne. I gotta tell you, I really appreciate that guru look that you had last night. Right? But certainly, hey, you know what, teach his own, brother. I'm gonna support you in any way that you go. But I'm gonna keep it 100.
I was talking to some young brothers recently, right? And I said to them, I'm 61, right?
Yes.
And I'm going for 120.
Wow.
And some of my friends said, man, who are you going to be around with? Everybody's going to die that's your age. And I'm like, okay, I'll stay with the young people.
That's right. You're young anyway, right? it's all perspective. It's all perspective. But
Yes.
but it's good to see it, my brother. And we're having this conversation around, what would you do with $1 million? And I would be interested to hear your take on that answer.
Well, I want to jump on something that you mentioned a while ago with the people who win the millions and billions, right?
Got you. Yeah.
Because honestly, I need to become it before I actually experience it.
Okay, hold on a second, because you just dropped something so deep. It gonna go over most people's head. It gonna go over most people's head because we don't talk like this, Wayne. We don't talk like that in general, John public.
I got
So
to be a
listen,
millionaire before I can experience $1 million. Otherwise, a million is going to come and go because that's not who I am.
oh my goodness, Wayne, you're gonna have to dissect that for the people, man. You have
So,
to.
so what would I do with it, right?
Mm,
I know that wealth can be occurred by three different things, right?
hmm
Entrepreneurship, investment, right? And real estate. So I know exactly where the money would go reference to those things, right? I am an entrepreneur, so there's certain things I need to take care of with the business, and money, a cash flow would add some to the entrepreneurship. So some would definitely go to the entrepreneurship.
Got
As
you.
far as investment, I would need to get some counsel because there's so many people coming at me on social media talking about this investment and this investment, and I'm like, hold it a second, I need to get the cash in order to start the investment. Now, as far as real estate,
Hi, going. Hey, you investing back home?
hey,
Yes, sir.
listen to me. I know peeps. I have been all over. I know exactly where the places are that you can get. So with the money,
Right.
I'm looking to make that million work for me.
I hear
That's what
that.
I do with it.
I love it. I love it. No, I love the perspective of you saying, hey, listen, how can we grow it versus spend it? So you have a growth mindset, right? You're looking to grow it versus spend it. But hold on a second. Pump the brakes, Wayne, because we got to get the folks on the same vibrational frequency, wavelength, vibe, whatever, right? Because you said something earlier we don't want to skip over, right? You don't want to skip over. You said after be it, right? Let me have you say it because I may mess it up. How what we gotta do?
I gotta become it. I have to become it before I actually receive it because I have to become the
Uh-huh.
world changer before I am the world changer.
Right, right. So let's put it in some terms, right? Because you know, uh, some people need things they can relate to, right? So they can really get deeper levels of understanding. So you've heard the term Oprah was Oprah before she was Oprah, right? You've heard that? People say
Yes,
that.
yes.
So explain to the people what does that look like in terms of the Oprah being Oprah before she was Oprah, right? In your concept, what does that look like?
You know who Michelangelo was, right?
Yes, sir.
He created the David, right?
Yes, sir.
He started with a piece of marble. And when he was finished, they said, how did you get David from that piece of marble?
Mm,
He said, all I did was chip away what was not David, and then I had David. So there needs to be a chipping away, chipping away, chipping away. And there is a word that sometimes we run away from,
mhm.
and that word is repent.
Okay.
Repent means change your thinking.
Change your thinking. Right.
And that's what I need to do. I need to change my thinking in order that I can become aware of who I really am, because I am as God created me.
Mm,
Now, my awareness of who I am, that's where I have a deficit, but I need to go back to realize, who am I?
got it.
And who am I? I am who I am, and my I ams. When I say my I ams, what I say is the creating of what I am. So I say I am amazing.
Mm,
I am creative. No, I might have feelings that go with those navigation in life right now, but I have to differentiate what I'm feeling from who
mhm.
I am. But again, when we become aware of who we are, life is going to be like amazing.
Wow. Wow. So what I'm hearing you say is this. Listen, I can't feel and think that I'm not enough, right? I can't feel like I'm not enough. I'm inadequate. I'm not worthy.
I might feel it. I might feel it, but I'm not it, because I don't say I am angry.
Right.
I might have experienced the emotions and the feelings, and I can just identify it, but that's not who I am.
Right, and I get that. I get that. So it is the awareness, as the awareness, raising the awareness of who you are, getting aligned with that abundant self that you are.
Yes.
Right. First,
Yes.
getting a level of consciousness, right? Consciousness of self being great, being connected to the source, being abundant already first. And
Think,
then
think,
right,
grow, become.
become.
Think and grow rich.
Think, grow, become. I love it. I love it. So let me ask you this, because in the same conversation, right? And Lamont, I want you to kind of chime into this too. So we were just talking about why is it that some people, statistics shows that if you do acquire the money with the mindset, right? That mindset, and the majority of people who do acquire the money in the lottery have that mindset. Why is it that they lose the
What,
money
what,
in
what,
5
what
years?
mindset? What mindset do they have?
Okay, so I would say that many don't feel deserving, many don't feel enough,
That's why
many.
it's not. That's why it goes.
Okay,
I'm going to add to that too. Lots of money reveals who a person is.
Bingo.
It reveals who you are. And so when people get the money, all it does is bring to surface who they are. And because they haven't done the work to prepare for such a windfall, then who they are takes over.
Yes.
And so um, those who actually hold on to it or use it to grow, use it as a way to invest and turn that money into more money, are those who not just understand finances. You don't have to understand finances, but you do have to do the internal work to become a good steward of what
Ooh,
you have, right?
that's it right there. That's it right there. Because
And
if I don't
so,
know how to manage 1,000,
right.
that's good. That's good. That's good. I love what you just said, Lamont, because we want to put that in terms that people really, really can get and understand. So I want to explore what that looks like. What does that look like in a scenario? So a person wins $1 million, and so because you say it amplifies who they are. So if they're already a spender and not an investor, right? To Wayne's point, the identity, identifying as a person who invests and it versus a person who spends. You're just saying that this is going to amplify. You give me $1 million. If I'm a spender, I'm just going to spend it.
And it goes beyond just winning money.
Mm,
There are people who have built million dollar businesses to have lost the business because once they got to that level,
yeah,
they did not have the wherewithal, the internal fortitude to manage it.
I love
yeah,
that
And
word.
so they
Manage. Manage is the key. Because whatever I don't manage, I lose.
yes,
If I don't manage my health, I lose it. If I don't manage my relationship, I lose it. If I don't manage my money, if I don't manage my time, if I don't, I'm has to be a good manager, and I'm a manager because I am managing. How
right,
do I manage what I have right now?
right,
oh man, y'all dropping some real good nuggets, man. You talk about managing it. Life is about management, right?
right.
It's about management. It's true, Wayne. Whatever you will manage, and that's a good one, man. For y'all need to write that down. Whatever you don't manage, you will lose, right? I think yeah, there's some. I don't know who it was, but that one sounds very familiar. That one sounds very familiar. But I'm telling you, that's a powerful statement, right? Whatever you don't manage, you will lose. Wow.
Because Napoleon Hill, one of the concepts that Napoleon Hill has in Think and Grow Rich is that successful people are decisive,
Yes,
and managers have to be decisive.
that's right.
They don't want to put you in charge, and then you're going to be asking, "What am I supposed to do?"
I love it. I love it. I
You got
love
to
it.
make the decision. If you're the manager, and that's why when you have a problem, let's say you have a problem with the telephone company or some service, you say, "Let me speak to the manager."
Because the manager can make decisions. The manager can get things done. And so
Yes,
if you want to get things done in your life, you got to be the manager. But be the manager. That means there's certain habits, there's certain traits, there's certain attributes that creates the identity called manager. And I think that's what
becoming,
you're talking about. Like
becoming.
Becoming. That's the becoming stage, right? Is the daily rituals, the daily habits that you have that makes you become the type of person that can manage $1 million. Now, you guys also shared something else that was really powerful. And I remember there was a story in Think and Grow Rich called 3 Feet from Goal. Right?
Yes.
Very, very, very powerful story. Man, I share this story with my boys. It's such a powerful story. And as you guys know, just for the listening public to share it again, there's a guy by the name of Darby, and I may not get it all right, but the essence you're gonna catch. So a guy by the name of Darby goes out to kind of dig for oil, right? Goes out, he starts digging and finds a nice vein and like, oh my gosh, this is perfect. I'm gonna go and invest in this and start digging more because I think I found the windfall. I'm gonna find more oil. I want to be a millionaire. And so he goes and gets people to invest in equipment, and he goes out and he starts digging, and unfortunately he doesn't find anything, but he keeps going, and after a while, dude decides, you know what, man, well, I'm gonna give up because clearly there's no more oil. So I'm going to give up. And then I think he decides to give up and sell the equipment. What was a junkyard guy, a farmer or something, Lamont? I forget who he sells it to, but I think like he's selling to like a farmer or a junkyard guy or whatever. He just sells all the equipment. And this guy was smart enough, like you said, Lamont, you don't have to know, right, about finances. You just need to know how to make good decisions. And he made one critical decision, a good decision, which is what Lamont talked about earlier, and even Wayne mentioned, is to seek wise counsel. Seek wise counsel. And so he went and found this a geologist or something, I think it was a geologist or one of those earth people. right? And the people did like a measurement and looked to see where Darby kind of left off and realized that if he would have drilled like 3 more feet, he would have hit the biggest
Close.
He would hit the biggest windfall in terms of oil. And that story, man, that story was so powerful. So, a lot of times we're so three feet from goal, but what we end up doing is giving up instead of seeking wise counsel. And so it is with we're looking at this whole idea of getting the money. What's one of the first things you should do? What's one of the first things you should? Lamont said, "Man, I will seek wise counsel. I'll go get an attorney." You know what I'm saying? Get an attorney and find people who can advise me on the steps and the things that I need to do to be successful, or to how to utilize this money in a way that's going to allow it to grow versus it, wasting.
But the thing is, we can act like that person before we get the money.
Right.
We can think like that person before we get the money.
Yes.
We can behave like that person before we get the money.
Yes.
So when we get the money, a friend of mine says, make sure you're dancing in the dark.
Yeah.
So when the light flashes on you, you're already in motion.
You're already in motion. I love that. And what I was saying to Lamont, one of the motion things that we do in our community, and you say you can act like it, is play a game, right? Playing, right? They say, people say fake it till you make it, but you can actually use your imagination. You can actually get masterminds of people together and start living in that life now. Start learning those principles now. And one of the games we were talking about, Wayne, as you know, we play as a group, it's called cash flow. Robert Kiyosaki has a cash flow game. Very powerful game. And see what that game does, it starts to help you to change your thinking. Right? It starts to help you to change your thinking about money, thinking about growth, thinking about what it means to be able to expand.
Right.
And it also allows you to experience the consequences of, your behavior of spending. But a nice thing is just a game. So you don't have to deal with the consequences per se, but the game reveals the consequences to you. Right. So it does make you change your thinking. So I love that. I love that. And that's one you can experience. So if you, again, a part of our community, that's one of the things that we do here is that we are always looking for ways to create future expressions of things we want in the now.
Yeah.
We're always looking for ways to have future expressions of things that we want in the now. You got to practice. I think of Kobe Bryant, right? Yeah.
He knew exactly where he wanted to go, and he practiced to become. And he became what he actually envisioned, but he had to practice. It didn't just be like out of the blue. He was showing up before the coach was there, and he was staying there after the coach left, but he was putting in the work so that he could become the big mambo.
Yes, yes.
You
Hey,
know, it,
go ahead, go ahead, Lamont.
it brings to mind for me Neville Goddard's
Yeah,
law of assumption.
law of
That
assumption.
the law of assumption, what you assume to be true, you create it in your imagination first, but it will become your reality. I think what happens sometimes is, like, let's say I'm a millionaire. I say that I'm a millionaire. So the question is, what are the daily routines of a millionaire?
Mm-hmm.
Right? What
Yeah,
are the habits of a millionaire?
yeah,
Right? And so in order for me to attract that $1 million, I've got to walk like a millionaire. I've got to do the things that someone who has that amount of wealth does on a
yeah,
daily basis,
yeah,
assuming it and doing the practices of those things. And it's so interesting because in our reality, you have to do before you become,
mm-hmm.
right? You
Yes,
have to go to school to become a doctor, right? We have to always do a lot of stuff first in order to become something. But the law of assumption is, no, you become it now, and then as you create that in your you as you create that reality in your mind, then you just start moving in that space, and by
yeah,
doing that, you're attracted to you.
yeah, and that's a good point. And I want um, Wayne, I want you to talk about vision a little bit after this, but that is such a good point. Like there's a formula that we've all been revealed, and the formula is B plus two equal half. I've been knowing that formula for years, and I never fully grasped it or understood it. Right? Everybody understands the doing, and everybody teaches. If you want more, you have to do hard work. You have to work hard, more preaching, more doing. But oftentimes, we don't really speak about the realm of being. We
Right.
don't really speak and how powerful that is. But we've heard people hint at it. We've heard people like Steve Harvey say that you know what's his big thing? Imagination is a preview of coming attractions.
In fact, it's a factory.
Yeah, it's a factory.
It's the factory because you think. That's where it's conceived in the mind, and every single thing begins with a thought.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Everything begins with a thought. That's where it starts. That's where it's conceived. But I think it's Wallace Waddle says in The Science of Getting Rich, the thought activates the thing, but I prepare myself to receive it.
that's it.
Because success does not encounter unpreparedness.
Mm,
If
mm,
success comes and you're not prepared, it's going to go. You got to be prepared to receive it. But
mm,
the mental faculty of our imagination and the thought that we think, because the thoughts are seeds. And if
yes,
I
yes,
nurture the seed, it's going to bring forth the fruit.
yes.
I
You
gotta
know,
think, I gotta grow,
that's
and then
powerful.
it's coming. So think about it. Somebody conceived confidence factor. It was conceived in somebody's mind, and then we put the energy into it, and now we have it.
Yes.
And the vision, for example, the thing that I blame Lamont every time. I blame Lamont because he's the one that said, "I want you to come to this group." And when I came to the group and I heard the world vision, anything that deals with the world excites me because I see the world as the playing field.
I love it.
And to think about it, we gotta think. And again, I'm going to provoke you guys here today because if we can think it, it's possible, and it's going to be above and beyond what we can think. Can you think of CF conference in Belize?
Absolutely.
Can you think of CF conferences in Africa?
Absolutely.
Can you think of CF conference all over the world?
Yes, sir.
But we got to become it.
That's
And
right.
we become it by doing the work on ourselves. And
Right.
for me, I'm a young 4-year entrepreneur, but I'm navigating this through this thing called life. And the situation and circumstances are real, but who I am is the truth.
That's it. That's it. I love that. I love that. And you're right. When we talk about becoming, what that looks like in Confidence Factor is things like our mastermind. We have an Unleash Your Riches mastermind, and that allows us to get together and practice, right? Practice, do the work of being able to create and speak into a new identity so that we can create a confidence factor in Africa, so that we can create a confidence factor in Belize, right? It is a lot about that. But going back to what you said, Wayne, you said something, and I don't want to overstep this because it's so powerful. You know, you said the thinking magnetizes the thing, but you still got to plant the seed. You still
I gotta do my part, because
be a part.
and there's been a disconnect, especially like in religious circles. They had this whole move of name it and claim it.
Yes.
Boy, you could name it and claim it until you're blue in the face, but if you don't take the action, because faith without works is dead.
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
can be praying that God send me customers, but man, I got to make the calls. I got to make sure that I have the material to give them. I got to make sure that I wake up. But I want to drop a little nugget here. There's a video that I've watched, and it says, "Why are billionaires waking at 4 a.m. in the morning?"
Tell me.
This is a scientific research, and if you go to YouTube, you're going to find it. And it says people like Oprah Winfrey, people like all these billionaires, they have rituals and practices that they do. And it is found out that the body is in sync with the rising of the sun and the setting down of the sun. And when it's evening and the sun goes down, the melatonin and everything is just, you want to go to sleep. And when you wake in the morning, that period of time in the morning at 4, it is said that that is the most impacting time for the vibration of your mind and your thinking and your creativity.
Wow.
Yeah.
One of my friends who's a millionaire says, "Wayne, if you hang out with 5 millionaires, you're going to become the 6. If you hang out with 5 junkies, you're going to become the 6. So, you know who I was hanging out with early COVID?
Who that?
Barack Obama. I was listening to him read his book while I was exercising when I couldn't go out, but he and I were working out, and I'm hanging out with these people. I might not have them in my physical location, but we are hanging out and I'm learning. Because if you're the smartest person in your group, go find another group.
I love how you piece that together. When you say you hanging out with Barack Obama, I'm like, when did you do that? Why you ain't call me, bro? Why you ain't call me? I want to hang out with Barack Obama. So, but I love how you do that, because even Napoleon Hill talked about how even when he wrote the book Outwitting the Devil, right? If you haven't read that one, that's a very powerful one. He talked about having this counsel with these men in his mind, and he would literally go in and he would see them embody, right? All these guys embody who they were in real life, their characteristics and everything, and show up in the room. And he would have this counsel with these men. And it was phenomenal just to read. And then, of course, here you echo that same sentiment about, you were hanging out with Barack Obama. Shoot, you can do it in your mind. You can hang out with people of influence in your mind, right? And that starts to create a certain state, a certain vibration, a certain frequency. But to your point, the thought magnetizes. I think some of us don't even allow for the thought, because we haven't allowed for the space of imagining the possibility of something happening for us, right? We haven't even really allowed for the possibility, thinking like, wow, this truly can be possible for me, because I think we've so been adapted to this idea that our self-worth is attached to our net worth, right? Right?
You got to say that again with the self-worth.
Right? Yeah, we've been indoctrinated in that, and so we can't see ourselves from a realm of millionaire, billionaire, whatever, when maybe your bank account a little low, right? Because you've always been indoctrinated with this idea that your self-worth as a human being is attached to
you've been programmed. And
program.
This is what I do as a life coach. I actually help people to go into this computer.
Yeah.
Delete the programmings that were not expensive. Download the right kind of programming that you need. And then you do a total antivirus, and then you come up like an iPhone 25.
You skipped all other ones. You went straight to 25, bro. Damn.
Listen,
you said I'm gonna put you in the future.
Listen, we are marveled today about AI, right?
Yeah.
But do you know that there is something greater than AI right here now?
Wow.
What is it? You want to know?
The human mind.
Yeah,
human mind.
We have and it is said they studied the capacity of the genius of geniuses, and they say we're just operating at like 10%. So if I get in and I really tap into this thing, and it's going to seem out of this world, but I'm imagining being in a space where I can actually be beamed up from here to India.
Go, wow. I can see it. I think again, my realm of thinking, or my realm of understanding, at least for me, we talk about quantum physics. You study quantum physics, they talk about these things, right? The breaking down of the atom, and literally, like, I mean, anyway, I can go deep into that, but
Can I tell you what this year's focus is for me, 2023?
what's that?
Before I started, I listened, and 2023 is the year of quantum leap and exponential growth.
Quantum leap and exponential growth.
That's
Beautiful.
2023 for me.
Yeah.
And what it means is that things are going to be happening quickly, and they're going to be happening expansively.
Yes. You declare it. Hey, I'm gonna declare that with you, man. I'm eating some of that soup you eat. Whatever you eating, I want some of that. I'm eating some of that. Right? I'm trying to hang out with Barack Obama like you.
I wanted to go back to something, a point that Wayne made, and I just pulled up a Facebook post from Wayne Dyer back in 2012.
Wow.
And this is what he says. He says, "Do you find yourself regularly waking up around 3 or 4 a.m. each night? Next time this happens, remember the poem of Rumi and don't go back to sleep. These hours before dawn are when you are close to source in a great time of inspiration and creativity. Put your feet on the floor, get out of bed, feel the morning breeze, and listen to your inner thoughts."
I'm writing the book. I'm writing the book, right? Meeting with the executive director. And I've been practicing what you're saying, because every trip that I make it before I make the trip.
You see it before you see it.
I see it before I see it, because I know what it is going to be before I get there. Because this is what I say: God is in the past, right? He's here in this present moment, and God is in the future waiting for me to get there. And when I get there, it's like, I've been waiting for you.
Yeah. That's good. Man, if you're tuning into us right now, we're here at Confidence Factor having a powerful discussion. Of course, we're talking about Unleash Your Riches. What would you do with $1 million? And more important to you, are you the type of person who can attract $1 million? That's what we're discussing here today. It has some powerful revelations, powerful shares about seeking wise counsel, about the importance of becoming the right type of person, the importance of becoming the manager. Like, whatever you don't manage, you end up losing. Right? That's a powerful quote by Wayne shared. And of course, thought is the beginning stage of all creation, but it is the thing that magnetizes things for you. However, as you said, faith without works is dead. So you got to be able to do the doing as well. Having
my mentor, Mira Morrissey, one of my mentors, Mira Morrissey, says, we don't get what we desire.
Yeah.
We get who we are.
We get who we are. Yeah. And you know, this funny thing is, like, so many teachers have been saying that same thing, because going to Lamont's point, Wayne Dyer has a quote that says that we don't get what we want, we get more of who we are, and who we are is what we believe. That's what he said.
Yes.
So he took it to a whole nother level to really understand what ultimately creates who you are. And I think it was we are, who said that said we are what we think all day long.
Think
Right.
it. As a man think it.
Right. As a man thinking it's all, but it says we are what we think about all day long. That's the key part. We are what we think about all day long. So it's the repetition of a certain thought. And I remember talked about this last night, John Kehoe, who wrote the book Mind Powers. He actually broke it down to me one of the best ways. He says, if you look at the physical universe, everything is a vibration of energy. Everything in the known physical universe is a vibration of energy, right? So we look at things physically and we say, oh, that's a physical thing. But the thing that makes that up, the building blocks of that thing, is energy, and it's vibrating at a certain rate that then makes it look physical. And he says thought is a vibration energy. And he says thought is such a powerful vibration of energy that when you repeat a thought over and over and over again, it then takes an imprint into your unconscious mind, i.e. your heart, right? And it starts to vibrate. It starts to vibrate like a tuning fork, and it starts to use the thing that we've heard of, this thing called law of attraction, start attracting people, circumstance, and conditions to you. However, you got to do something with that opportunity, that person, that place, that condition, the things that it is given to you. I think what's it? TD Jake says, "Hey, God don't give you the tree. He don't give you the chair. He may give you a tree, but he can give you the chair, right? He don't give you the chair. He may give you the opportunities. Your job to do something with it. So there is a space and a realm for you to start to activate the things that you want with thought. But to your point, Wayne, you got to step into it with your action, your inspired action, to move in the direction. Right? As I said, success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal, to be progressively moving into the direction of your dreams. Oh, hold on a second.
Hey, I know you mentioned this book before, and this is one of my favorite books. I've read it like 7 times. Switch on your brain.
Oh yes, listen. Thanks for recommending that, man. That was such a, and for those people who are listening who want to be able to kind of like start a discussion around the connection between science and theology.
Yes, it's an amazing, and she does the research and she gives you the scientific breakdown of the thought.
Yes.
Because of the scientific breakdown, you can actually be monitoring and you can see that the electrons and all the stuff and the chemicals that are released when you think certain thoughts. But then there's also the intangible, because the thought, you can't grab it with your hand.
Yes.
But you think that thought, and then it sends a message to the brain. And like you were saying, over and over and over again, there are grooves, physical grooves that are formed in the brain that can be noticed and seen.
Man,
and therefore, when I change the way I'm thinking, my very DNA
changes,
impacted.
That part tripped me out, man. I ain't gonna lie, Wayne. That part tripped me out because I spent some time really decoding and studying that part. That was like really, really powerful. And because a lot of times we believe that once we're a certain way, we're a certain way. But science is showing through neuroplasticity. And we even had a gentleman on last time who even showed us in the Bible about the transformation of self, right, through biblical principles. Like it's the same thing, neuroplasticity.
It says, be transformed by the renewing of your mind.
The renewing of your mind, neuroplasticity. That's exactly the Bible, Cody Benjamin. Renewing of the mind. Love that, man. That's some powerful stuff, brother.
And so when you think about the conversation reminds me of what Earl Nightingale said. There's a recording of Earl Nightingale on YouTube, and he says, we become what we think about. And what's interesting about that quote is, as the world change, as you change, you start thinking about different things. You don't think about the things you thought about when you were a child, right?
True.
And so as you mature through life, you become what you think about. And a lot of times people deal with illnesses and sicknesses in situations that some people say nothing good ever happens to me.
Yeah.
Bad things always happen.
You just said it. And you get it.
Right. And so it's because people are in the thought of that happening, and that's what happens. They become it. It's like you are a magnet to it because that's what you're thinking about.
That's it. Yeah. Becoming the magnet. And what I love about these discussions, I was talking to my son the other day, and I told him about the difference between success and significance, right? And fulfillment. And oftentimes people will say, well, hey, man, I don't want to talk about it. I want to talk about just making the bag and making the money. And I remember listening to Jim Carrey, and Jim Carrey was talking about, man, I wish everybody would be able to make all this money, right? So that you can see that even at that different levels, you're still going to be dealing with stuff. If you don't deal with the emotions of maybe knowing who you are and not enough and all that stuff, you get to the level of all the money, man, you're still going to feel. Because I'm like, I don't know you guys, I was puzzled and wonder, how is it that people, because it tripped me out, because I'm, for me, I was just conditioned like everybody else. But hey, you make a bunch of money and life is going to be perfect, right? Just make more money. And if you got all the money, life is going to be perfect, right? right? That's how you condition it, right? More money, more money, more money. So, but then you look around and you observe life and you go like, hold on a second. But you see some people, they may have a lot of money and then they still check out. Like, why is that? Why is that? I thought they had everything that we are desiring to attain and achieve. So how is it that they've got to that level, but they still check out?
You're seeing their outside, but you're not seeing their inside.
Well, and thank you for saying that. And that's the point I'm trying to make. That's why these discussions are so powerful. The importance of understanding success and fulfillment, right? You can have success, be very unfulfilled. You can have everything externally. And again, I mean, if you talk to me 10, 15 years ago, I'll be like, you crazy, man. Success and fulfillment is all the same damn thing, man. When you get the money, when you get the bag, you're going to be good. Everything going to be perfect. What are you talking about, right?
How many people do you know that have all the money and they're the most miserable people?
Well, listen, here's a conversation.
Not all of them, but you can have it and still not be it.
Right. And that's the point. And that's the conversation I want to have. I always said that, listen, I want to live a life of both, right? Because I'm not of this idea of just, some people get into these conversations and they're bashing the money and they're bashing the realities of success and all that stuff. No. I'm not entertaining that. It's both. It's success and fulfillment. I want all the bag. I want all the billions, but at the same time, I want to be in such a state of knowing an abundance of self and knowing who I am, that those things just become tools that I get to use to bless the world and life. And as I ebb through the world, to have all those resources to do some great things with. And that's what it represents, right? To have the opportunity to be significant. And significant means, right? But I want all the bag, I want all the success, and I want all the fulfillment. I want all of it, right?
So what I say, right? I said, I'm connected to the source, right? I want to make sure that I'm a conduit through which all of the source can flow through.
All of the source. Ooh.
And that's limitless. So, and because of our thinking and our programming, for example, our ancestors that were enslaved, right? Mm-hmm. They were told that they will get shoes when they get to heaven. Mm. And therefore, looking for a life that is lovely and abundant is like, no, if I have too good a house, I want houses. Not for me, but that I can have houses, because the more house I have, I can entertain. The more houses I have, I can give. I want to be able to not just tithe. I would love to be able to be in the space where I could say 80% or 90% of my net worth, I can be giving it away. Because I have so much that I can give it away. Because the thing is, the law of circulation is, if I give, what's going to happen? It's going to come back.
Right back. Right.
And the more I give, the more it's going to come back. And the poverty mentality is that all I have is this little bit. I can't give to nobody. I got to make sure that I'm okay. And unless I release what I have, I'm not in a position to receive anything.
That is true.
And if I even have a little bit and I'm really giving that little bit, like Jesus said, that person is giving more than the person that even have a lot that is just giving out of their abundance.
That's faith. That's faith.
I just pulled up this article by this gentleman. His name is Raphael Badzag. Mm-hmm. He wrote the book, The Billionaire Secret.
Oh, interesting.
And in the article, he said, I spent 6 years interviewing 21 billionaires. I found that 1% are happier than the average person.
Whoa.
And it's not just because they're rich. In the article, what he goes on to say is, he says, this is so, and we know this, but he says, I just saw it. Money doesn't give you happiness. It gives you choice. And a lot of people, and a lot of money gives you a lot of choice, but not everybody can handle that choice.
Ooh,
right?
That is good. No, but Lamont, that's good, because in everything that we're talking about, if you're living your life by default and not by design, think about it, you really don't have a choice.
Right.
You are operating by default.
Autopilot.
You really don't even have a choice. And so imagine, and then we talk about the whole thing of $1 million. You get $1 billion operating under default. You really don't have a choice. The money gives you choices, but you really don't have a choice in how you relate to that money. You're gonna just do whatever is already preconditioned and programmed. Damn,
Yeah.
that's good. You guys should.
He says, what I found out in my research is that money itself doesn't change much about your ability to be happy. It just magnifies your personality. Happy people become happier, and unhappy people become miserable when they get wealthy.
No, and he's a billionaire.
This is a guy who studied
Billionaires.
studied billionaires.
That's like Napoleon Hill today, because Napoleon Hill studied the wealthiest people in his time, but he's now studying the wealthiest people in his time today, which are billionaires.
Yeah, and this is what I'm saying. For me personally, this is something I think here in Confidence Factor. One of the things we want as we continue to climb the ladder of success, we always want to be grounded in fulfillment. That's important because life is this journey, right? Is this journey, and we all know this, that it's in the journey where the juice is. So there's never a rival. It's like we always think, okay, once I arrive, there's never an arrival really. It's in the middle, right? So we always want to be trying to expand in the good feelings and the emotions of joy and happiness and gratitude as we are expanding into a particular goal, as we're expanding into a journey, and working on embodying that beingness is the work. Because we've been so conditioned for the opposite. We've been so conditioned for the opposite. And I think that's what I want people to get when they listen to us have these discussions. It's such a good thing to talk about $1 million because it excites us. Everybody gets excited. Think about it. And it's so funny, right? Everybody does this game. The lottery is $1 billion. And everybody goes out and they buy their ticket. And for that split moment, everybody can live in the experience of having it. Everybody's like, what would you do with your $1 million? What would you like? I don't know if y'all know this, but people are so nice. You go and buy your ticket, everybody's so nice, and everybody's like, good luck, and like everybody's in there.
like I said, what are you doing with the 100 that you have right now?
Yeah, boy, I'm telling you.
How are you managing that 100? If you're not managing that 100, you can't manage 10 or 5,000 or 100,000 or $1 million, because the same habits are going to be there with you. What you manage then is what you're going to be imagining then. And folks, if you go back to like our health, everybody say, I want to be healthy.
Yes.
So what does that look like? Am I watching what I'm eating? Am I resting? Am I exercising? Am I taking care of my body? And when you talk about my thinking, because my thinking has to be healthy. Now, do you realize that every thought that you think impacts every cell of your body?
Man, you got to open up their minds to that. We don't have that awareness when they talk to us.
But you drink and that stuff goes to the whole body, the water or the alcohol or whatever it is. Every thought that you think, this is why you can actually think a thought and you pee yourself. Because the whole body is impacted by the thought that you think.
Wow. Well, listen, this is a powerful discussion, man. I can't believe we're at 7:30 already. We were in this. This almost feels like it was just like a 15-minute conversation. This is so powerful. But I want us to just kind of give a quick closing remarks, specifically around the conversation of, what would you do with millions of dollars? Lamont, I know you shared already. And whatever final thought that's on your heart that you want to share. So Wayne, I'm gonna ask you to go first, and Lamont, you next, and I'll close it up.
Well, I really want to emphasize the whole work and working on yourself. And the intention that I set for my life is that I'm my competition. And I say today I'm purposeful and intentionally working at being a better me than I was yesterday.
Yeah.
And tomorrow I'll be working at being a better me than I am today, because the Wayne you're seeing today is not going to be the Wayne you're going to see tomorrow and the other day and the other day, because every day I'm doing the work on myself. And that is, I think, the most important thing that one can do. And some of it means you got to invest in yourself. And when I say invest, you got to spend the money to say get a coach or get a mentor or put in the time and show up and have someone hold you accountable. But you got to do the work. And as you continue to do the work, then, hey, you're going to be showing up as the best you ever done.
I love that. And Lamont, I know you're going to go. You have an inspiration, Jackson. I'm going to ask you to go last. I'll just echo sharing what Wayne said. Number one is seek wise counsel. whether it be you getting $1 million, whether it be that you're trying to start a business, whether it be that you're looking to attain any goal in your life, seeking wise counsel will make you always not make the mistake of stopping 3 feet from goal, right? It will help you collapse time and give you back your time, give you back more life in helping you to make wise decisions. And as Wayne said, invest in you. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to my brother Lamont to close us out with an inspiration injection and take us home. And thank you again for watching, everyone.
Yep. And so thank you for joining us today for Confidence Factor Talks. We appreciate you being here. The inspiration injection is one of my favorite quotes. It's a quote that I live by. It's better to be prepared for an opportunity and not to have one than have an opportunity and not be prepared.
That's right.
Prepare yourself. Prepare yourself for your $1 million so that you can manage it when you get it.
Mhm.
Thank you so much for being here. And like we say here at Confidence Factor, and everything you do, always keep it
heart level.
Heart level.
Heart level.
Great discussion.
Yep. We'll see you all next week.
Take care, everyone.